Windsor Castle, the majestic and historic residence of British monarchs, often stands as a symbol of stability and regal tradition. Yet, one fateful day, a moment unfolded within its ancient walls that would forever disrupt the quiet harmony of the royal family. It was an occasion that no one could have predicted, one that would go down in history as an explosive reminder of the complexities that lie beneath the carefully curated public image of the royal family. Prince Louis, the youngest son of Prince William and Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge, had long been known for his spirited, sometimes unruly nature. His mischievous grin and boundless energy had captured the hearts of royal watchers across the world. But on this particular day, his youthful exuberance took a shocking turn. As Queen Camilla entered the room, a hush fell over the assembly of dignitaries and courtiers. In a bold move, Louis stepped forward, his small figure standing defiantly before the Queen Consort. This wasn't an innocent outburst or a harmless child's tantrum. No, this was a direct challenge, a challenge to Camilla's authority, her position, and her carefully constructed image as the newly crowned Queen Consort. For a brief moment, time seemed to stand still. Louis' words, though small and perhaps unintelligible to those not within earshot, carried a weight that reverberated throughout the room. The look in his eyes was one of defiance, one that suggested a deep, simmering discontent that had been building for months, if not years. To those who had watched the royal family closely, this was a stark departure from Louis' usual behavior. For all his cheekiness and occasional mischief, he had always displayed a deep affection for his family, particularly his parents. But the tension between Camilla and Louis had been quietly growing, ever since her ascension to the role of Queen Consort. And now, it seemed, it was all spilling out. Behind the scenes of the royal family, there had always been a tension between the old guard of the monarchy and the younger generation of royals. Queen Elizabeth II had been a figure of stability, a constant presence throughout the lives of her grandchildren. However, with her passing and the subsequent coronation of King Charles III, the family found itself in the midst of a dramatic shift. Queen Camilla, having now taken her place at the top of the royal hierarchy as Queen Consort, was tasked with navigating the delicate balance between tradition and modernity. She was a figurehead who represented the enduring legacy of the monarchy, yet her role was also one of adaptation and change. While King Charles III seemed to embrace this shift, Camilla had always been a champion of royal protocol and etiquette values that the younger royals, particularly Prince William and Catherine, often resisted. For Camilla, royal life was about maintaining appearances, preserving the dignity of the crown, and ensuring that the rules were followed to the letter. But for Prince William and his wife, Catherine, the approach to raising their children had always been more relaxed, more contemporary. They saw themselves as a modern family, embracing the idea of showing emotion, of being real, even in the face of public scrutiny. But this dichotomy was not always easy to reconcile. Camilla, who had spent decades in the public eye, often struggled with the more carefree, youthful energy of the Cambridge children. Prince Louis, especially, seemed to embody everything Camilla could not understand or control. His cheeky, rebellious nature was a sharp contrast to the disciplined, composed demeanor that Camilla tried so hard to instill in the royal household. As the youngest of 3 children, Louis was often caught in the crossfire of these clashing ideologies. Unlike his older brother George, who had been raised with the expectation of one day assuming the throne, and his sister Charlotte, who had learned to navigate the royal spotlight with a calm grace, Louis had always been different. His boundless energy and curiosity often led him to push the boundaries in ways that his family had to manage carefully. Public appearances were especially difficult for Louis, who found it hard to sit still or behave according to royal protocol. At official events, while George and Charlotte followed the rules, offering poised smiles, sitting with perfect posture, and engaging politely with guests, Louis often struggled. His restless nature seemed at odds with the formal atmosphere that surrounded royal events. But more than that, it was the restrictions on his behavior, the constant reminders to stay calm and composed, that seemed to weigh on him. There were whispers among the royal staff that Louis had begun to show signs of frustration, unable to reconcile the free-spirited child he was with the expectations placed upon him by the monarchy. The most notable moment of tension came during the 2022 Platinum Jubilee celebrations. Louis, normally seen as a charming and delightful presence at family events, seemed particularly agitated. His behavior during the celebrations was erratic. He fidgeted in his seat, whispered loudly to his mother, and made faces during the service. Many of those watching from the sidelines were quick to dismiss this as typical childlike behavior, but for those closer to the family, it was clear that Louis was struggling. It was a visible sign of the inner conflict between the joy of childhood and the stifling presence of royal tradition. In the months leading up to Prince Louis' 6th birthday, tensions between him and Camilla began to escalate. The birthday celebration, always an important event in the royal family, became a battleground of sorts, an arena where the contrasting values of tradition and modernity would clash. Camilla had envisioned a formal, regal celebration for Louis, in keeping with royal expectations. There would be elegant decorations, refined guests, and impeccable manners. Louis, on the other hand, had a very different vision of his special day. He dreamed of an outdoor party filled with laughter, games, and excitement. He imagined a day where he could run free, chase his siblings, and perhaps even enjoy a cake with the most outlandish decorations. To Louis, birthdays were a time for joy, not stiff formality. But Camilla, who had spent years honing her image as the embodiment of royal decorum, saw things differently. She wanted Louis to experience the grandeur of a royal celebration, to understand the importance of maintaining the dignity of the family. The divide between their visions for the day became apparent as the event neared. Camilla's insistence on keeping the celebration formal clashed with Louis' desire for freedom and fun. The day of the birthday arrived, and the atmosphere was thick with tension. The royal grounds were set up in a traditional fashion, with fine china, floral arrangements, and carefully orchestrated events. Yet, Louis remained restless, his excitement suppressed by the weight of the expectations placed upon him. As the celebration progressed, the tipping point came when Camilla approached Louis to wish him a happy birthday. The gesture, typically one of warmth and affection, felt more like an imposition to the young prince. He turned away from her, visibly displeased. The room, once filled with the cheerful noise of children and guests, fell silent. And then, in a moment of raw honesty, Louis whispered to his older sister Charlotte, "I hate her." The words, though uttered quietly, rang out like a bell, reverberating across the room. Those who had heard it could not ignore the profound meaning behind the words. Louis, a child so young, had expressed a sentiment that many in the royal family had long struggled to voice. His discomfort with Camilla, and the tension between them, was now out in the open for all to witness. Camilla, who had worked so hard to maintain her composure, seemed momentarily taken aback. She quickly regained her poise, offering a polite smile, but it was clear that the moment had shaken her. The guests, unsure of how to react, shifted uncomfortably, but the incident was a stark reminder that beneath the glittering facade of royal life, personal conflicts and unresolved emotions were ever present. In the days following the birthday party, the royal family found themselves grappling with the fallout from the incident. For some, Louis' defiance was a sign of a deeper, more widespread tension within the family, a rebellion against the traditional structures that had long governed the monarchy. For others, it was simply the growing pains of a young prince who was learning to navigate a world that seemed at odds with his innate sense of self. Prince William and Catherine, always mindful of the delicate nature of royal dynamics, chose not to scold Louis for his outburst. Instead, they recognized the importance of addressing the underlying feelings that had caused such a reaction. They sought to find a balance, an approach that allowed Louis to express his individuality while still upholding the core values of the monarchy. In the end, it was agreed that future royal events, including birthdays, would incorporate both tradition and moments of spontaneity, allowing Louis and his siblings to embrace both the grandeur of their royal heritage and the joys of childhood. And as for the relationship between Louis and Camilla, it too began to evolve, albeit slowly. There was a recognition that, though the road ahead might be filled with moments of tension and disagreement, there was also room for growth, understanding, and compromise. The monarchy had faced its first true test of the new era, a test that would continue to unfold in the years to come. But in that moment at Windsor Castle, Prince Louis had sent a powerful message: he would not be molded into someone he was not. And as the royal family moved forward, this newfound sense of individuality, of rebellion against the old ways, would become a defining characteristic of the younger generation of royals.